Hello, everybody. Welcome to Romeo and Juliet, Act 5, Scene 3, the final wonderful conclusion. As always, your assignment is to watch this through, try and figure out what's going on, and then watch it through a second time, following along with the text so that you can gain a deeper understanding of what's happening. And when we're through, we're going to talk about it. So here we go. Act 5, Scene 3, a churchyard. In it, a tomb belonging to the Capulets. Enter Paris and his page bearing flowers and a torch.
Give me that torch, boy. Hence, and stand aloof. Yet put it out, for I would not be seen. Under yon yew trees lay thee all along, holding thine ear close to the hollow ground. So shall no foot upon the churchyard tread, being loose, unfirm with digging up of graves, but thou shalt hear it. Whistle then to me, as signal that thou hearst something approach. Give me those flowers. Do as I bid thee, go.
I am almost afraid to stand alone here in the churchyard, yet I will adventure. Retires.
Sweet flower, with flowers thy bridal bed I strew. Oh, woe! Thy canopy is dust and stones, which with sweet water nightly I will dew, or wanting that with tears distilled by moans. The obsequies that I for thee will keep nightly shall be to strew thy grave and weep.
The page whistles.
The boy gives warning something doth approach. What cursed foot wanders this way tonight? To cross my obsequies in true love's right? What, with a torch? Muffle me, knight, a while.
Retires. He goes off. Enter Romeo and Balthazar with a torch, mattock.
Give me that mattock and the wrenching iron. Hold, take this letter. Early in the morning see thou deliver it to my lord and father. Give me the light. Upon thy life I charge thee, whatever thou hearest or seest, stand all aloof and do not interrupt me in my course. Why I descend into this bed of death is partly to behold my lady's face, but chiefly to take thence from her dead finger a precious ring, a ring that I must use in dear employment. Therefore hence, begone. But if thou, jealous, dost return to pry in what I further shall intend to do, by heaven I will tear thee joint by joint and strew this hungry churchyard with thy limbs. The time and my intents are savage wild, more fierce and more inexorable far than empty tigers or the roaring sea.
I will be gone, sir, and not trouble you.
So shalt thou show me friendship. Take thou that, live and be prosperous, and farewell, good fellow.
For all this same, I'll hide me hereabout. He looks, I fear. His looks, I fear, and his intents, I doubt. He goes off.
Thou detestable maw, thou womb of death, gorged with the dearest morsel of the earth, thus I enforce thy rotten jaws to open, and in despite I will cram thee with more food.
He opens the tomb.
This is that banished haughty Montague, that murdered my love's cousin, with which grief it is supposed the fair creature died. And here is come to do some villainous shame to the dead bodies. I will apprehend him.
Comes forward.
Stop thy unhallowed toil, vile Montague. Can vengeance be pursued further than death? Condemned villain, I do apprehend thee. Obey, and go with me, for thou must die.
I must indeed, and therefore came I hither. Good gentle youth, tempt not a desperate man. Fly hence, and leave me. Think upon these gone, let them affright thee. I beseech thee, youth, put not another sin upon my head by urging me to fury. Oh, be gone. By heaven, I love thee better than myself, for I come hither armed against myself. Stay not, be gone, live, and hereafter say a madman's mercy bid thee run away.
I do defy thy conjurations, and apprehend thee for a felon here.
Wilt thou provoke me? Then have at thee, boy.
They fight. Oh, Lord, they fight. I will go call the watch. Exit.
Oh, I am slain.
He falls.
if thou be merciful, open the tomb, lay me with Juliet.
And he dies.
In faith, I will. Let me peruse this face. Mercutio's kinsman, noble County Paris. What said my man when my betossed soul did not attempt him as we rode? I think he told me Paris should have married Juliet. Said he not so, or did I dream it so? Or am I mad, hearing him talk of Juliet, to think it was so? Oh, give me thy hand, one writ with me in sour misfortune's book. I'll bury thee in a triumphant grave. A grave? Oh no, a lanthorn. Slaughtered youth, for here lies Juliet, and her beauty makes this vault a feasting presence full of light. Death, lie thou there, by a dead man interred.
Laying Paris in the tomb.
How oft, when men are at the point of death, have they been merry, which their keepers call a lightning before death. Oh, how may I call this a lightning? Oh, my love, my wife, death that hath sucked the honey of thy breath, hath had no power yet upon thy beauty. Thou art not conquered. Death, beauty is ensign yet in crimson in thy lips and in thy cheeks, and death's pale flag is not advanced there. Tybalt, liest thou there in thy bloody sheet? Oh, what more favor can I do to thee than with that hand that cut thy youth in twain to sunder his that was thine enemy? Forgive me, cousin. Oh, dear Juliet, what, art thou yet so fair? Shall I believe that unsubstantial death is amorous, and that the lean, abhorred monster keeps thee here in dark to be his paramour? For fear of that, I still will stay with thee, and never from this pallet of dim night depart again. Here will I remain with worms that are thy chambermaids. Oh, here will I set my everlasting rest and shake the yoke of inauspicious stars from this world-wearied flesh. Eyes, look your last. Arms, take your last embrace, and lips, oh, you the doors of breath, seal with a righteous kiss a dateless bargain to engrossing death. Come, bitter conduct, come, unsavory guide, thou desperate pilot, now at once run on, the dashing rocks thy seasick weary bark. Here is to my love.
Drinks.
Oh, true apothecary, thy drugs are quick, and thus with a kiss I die.
He dies. Enter, at the other end of the churchyard, Friar Lawrence with a lantern, crow, and spade.
Saint Francis be my speed. How oft tonight have my old feet stumbled at graves. Who's there?
Here's one, a friend, and one that knows you well.
Bliss be upon you. Tell me, good my friend, what torch is yond that vainly lends his light to grubs and eyeless skulls? As I discern, it burneth in the capel's monument.
It doth so, holy sir, and there's my master, one that you love.
Who is it?
Romeo,
How long hath he been there?
full half an hour.
Go with me to the vault.
I dare not, sir. My master knows not, but I am gone hence, and fearfully did menace me with death, if I did stay to look on his intents.
Stay then. I'll go alone. Fear comes upon me. Oh, much I fear some ill, unthrifty thing.
As I did sleep under this yew tree here, I dreamt my master and another fought, and that my master slew him.
Romeo,
Advances.
Alack, alack, what blood is this which stains the stony entrance of this sepulchre? What mean these masterless and gory swords to lie discolored by this place of peace?
Enters the tomb.
Romeo! Oh, pale. Who else? What, Paris, too, and steeped in blood? Ah, what an unkind hour is guilty of this lamentable chance. The lady stirs.
Juliet wakes.
Oh, comfortable friar, where is my lord? I do remember well where I should be, and there I am. Where is my Romeo?
Noise within.
I hear some noise. Lady, come from that nest of death, contagion, and unnatural sleep. A greater power than we can contradict hath thwarted our intents. Come, come away. Thy husband in thy bosom there lies dead, and Paris too. Come, I'll dispose of thee among a sisterhood of holy nuns. Stay not to question, for the watch is coming. Come, go, good Juliet.
Noise again.
I dare no longer stay.
Go, get thee hence, for I will not away.
Exit Friar Lawrence.
What's here? A cup closed in my true love's hand. Poison, I see, hath been his timeless end. Oh, churl, drunk all away and left no friendly drop to help me after. I will kiss thy lips. Haply some poison yet doth hang on them to make die with the restorative.
Kisses him.
Thy lips are warm.
Lead, boy, which way?
Yea, noise. Then I'll be brief. Oh, happy dagger.
Snatching Romeo's dagger.
This is thy sheath.
Stabs herself.
There. Rust. And let me die.
Falls on Romeo's body and dies. Enter Watch with the page of Paris. This is the place, there where the torch doth burn. The ground is bloody. Search about the churchyard. Go, some of you, whoe'er you find attached. Pitiful sight. Here lies the county slain, and Juliet bleeding, warm and newly dead, who here hath lain these 2 days buried. Go, tell the prince, run to the Capulets, raise up the Montagues. Some others search. We see the ground whereon these woes do lie, but the true ground of all these piteous woes we cannot without circumstance decry. Re-enter some of the watch with Balthazar. Here's Romeo's man, we found him in the churchyard. Hold him in safety till the prince come hither. Re-enter others of the watch with Friar Lawrence. Here's a friar that trembles, sighs, and weeps. We took this mattock and the spade from him as he was coming from this churchyard side. A great suspicion. Stay the friar too. Enter the prince and attendants.
What misadventure is so early up that calls our person from our morning's rest?
Enter Capulet, Lady Capulet, and others.
What should it be that they so shriek abroad?
The people in the street cry, Romeo! Some Juliet and some Paris, and all run with open outcry toward our monument.
What fear is this which startles in our ears?
Sovereign, here lies the county Paris, slain, and Romeo dead, and Juliet dead before, warm and new killed.
Search, seek, and know how this foul murder comes.
Here is a friar, and slaughtered Romeo's man, with instruments upon them, fit to open these dead men's tombs.
Oh, heavens! Oh, wife, look how our daughter bleeds. This dagger hath mistaken, for lo, his house is empty on the back of Montague, and it is missheathed in my daughter's bosom.
Oh me, the sight of death is as a bell that warns my old age to a sepulchre. Enter Montague and others.
Come, Montague, for thou art early up to see thy son and heir more early down.
Alas, my liege, My wife is dead tonight. Grief of my son's exile hath stopped her breath. What further woe conspires against mine age?
Look, and thou shalt see.
O thou untaught, what manners is in this, to press before thy father to a grave?
Seal up the mouth of outrage for a while, till we can clear these ambiguities and know their spring, their head, their true descent. And then will I be general of your woes, and lead you even to death. Meantime, forbear, and let mischance be slave to patience. Bring forth the parties of suspicion.
I am the greatest, able to do least, yet most suspected, as the time and place doth make against me of this direful murder. And here I stand, both to impeach and purge myself condemned and myself excused.
And say at once what thou dost know in this.
I will be brief, for my short date of breath is not so long as it is a tedious tale. Romeo, there dead, was husband to that Juliet, and she, there dead, that Romeo's faithful wife. I married them, and the stolen marriage day was Tybalt's doomsday, whose untimely death banished the new-made bridegroom from this city, for whom, and not for Tybalt, Juliet pined. You, to remove that siege of grief from her, betrothed and would have married her perforce to County Paris. Then comes she to me, and with wild looks bid me devise some means to rid her from this second marriage, or in my cell there would she kill herself. Then gave I her, so tutored by my art, a sleeping potion, which so took effect, as I intended, for it wrought on her the form of death. Meantime I writ Romeo that he should hither come as this dire night to help to take her from her borrowed grave, being the time the potion's force should cease. But he which bore my letter, Friar John, was stayed by accident, and yesternight returned my letter back. Then, all alone at the prefixed hour of her waking, came I to take her from her kindred's vault, meaning to keep her closely at my cell till I conveniently could send to Romeo. But when I came, some minute ere the time of her awakening here, untimely lay the noble Paris and true Romeo dead. She wakes, and I entreated her, come forth and bear this work of heaven with patience. But then a noise did scare me from the tomb, and she, too desperate, would not go with me, but, as it seems, did violence on herself. All this I know, and to the marriage her nurse is privy. And if aught in this miscarried by my faults, let my old life be sacrificed some hour before his time unto the rigor of severest law.
We still have known thee for a holy man. Where's Romeo's man? What can he say of this?
I brought my master news of Juliet's death, and then in post he came from Mantua to this same place, to this same monument. This letter he early bid me give his father, and threatened me with death going in the vault. I departed not, and left him there.
Give me the letter. I will look on it. Where is the county's page that raised the watch? Sirrah, what made your master in this place?
He came with flowers to strew his lady's grave, and bid me stand aloof, and so I did. Anon comes one with light to ope the tomb, and by my master drew on him, and then I ran away to call the watch.
This letter doth make good the friar's words, their course of love, the tidings of her death. And here he writes that he did buy a poison of a poor apothecary, and therewithal came to this vault to die, and lie with Juliet. Where be these enemies? Capulet, Montague, see what a scourge is laid upon your hate. that heaven finds means to kill your joys with love. And I, for winking at your discords too, have lost a brace of kinsmen. All are punished.
O brother Montague, give me thy hand. This is my daughter's jointure, for no more can I demand.
But I can give thee more, for I will raise her statue in pure gold, that while Verona by that name is known, there shall no figure at such rate be set as that of true and faithful Juliet.
As rich shall Romeo's by his ladies lie, poor sacrifices of our enmity.
A glooming peace this morning with it brings. The sun for sorrow will not show his head. Go hence to have more talk of these sad things. Some shall be pardoned, and some punished. For never was a story of more woe than this of Juliet and her Romeo.
Exit. That was lovely, guys. That was really good. Yay. All right. So, who can summarize this very lengthy scene in the least amount of turns, least amount of sentences? Let's get the summary, and then I want to hear from each character to tell me what's going on with you, what you're feeling, what you're thinking, all that stuff. So who wants to take the summary?
Well, I think the friar should take it because she sums it up in the whole thing in her huge monologue.
Yeah,
so.
she does in her super
I
speech.
do.
She sums up the whole play. In case you missed it,
anything, I'm gonna fill you in, baby.
I'm gonna be brief, and then 5 minutes later.
Let me briefly tell you this long monologue. Yeah, it sounds like so they all show up at the tomb. Romeo is confused. He kills himself. Juliet awakes. She kills herself. Friar totally messed up. He really messed this one up. And then the prince comes in. We get the whole recap from the friar. Boom, they make up.
Nice.
There's your summary.
Thank you. So let's start with Paris. Let's start with you. Yeah, and you know what? It is rather convenient that he was left out of your summary because he's always left out of the scene. So, whenever they make a movie of this, it's true. And it's really funny that just happened that way. Anytime they film this, Romeo and Juliet, a lot of stage adaptations, Paris is not in the scene. Like, Juliet pretends to be dead, Paris is gone, we never see him again. Interesting. So, Paris, what's going on with you? Since this is a part of the scene that we rarely see. I think it's funny that even in the summary, like, we forget you. Sorry, Paris.
Yeah, Paris is kind of like he's like the Prince Hans in this show. He's like youngest of 7 or 8 brothers or whatever. He's just trying to marry up and he's trying to make a name for himself, and nobody really pays attention to him. But he was feeling really, really secure up until Juliet decided to, that death was the solution, or faking her death and then actual death. But he was feeling really good. He was like, all right, I nailed down the lady. I've got this great family now and all, this huge dowry that's going to come with this marriage. And then the rug gets just yanked out from underneath him. And I think he is feeling that there's a bit of divine retribution going on, that kind of his attitude toward her and his attitude toward the whole situation, deserved some consequences. So it seems like he's genuinely showing up at her grave to, pay his respects, and that he actually is going to honor her. If he couldn't in life, then he'll do it in death. And, he was trying to do something altruistic and defend her honor when Romeo shows up to defile her grave. And yet again, somebody underestimates Romeo's fighting prowess and he dies.
He kills him.
Yeah. Oh, well.
Oh, well. All right. Thank you, Paris. So, Romeo, tell us where you're at here.
Well, I'm currently dead.
All right. Back it up a little bit. Rewind.
Okay. So I come in with Balthazar and I'm like, look, you're gonna hear some stuff. Don't. Whatever you do, if you hear me dying in there, I don't say that. but if you hear me dying in there, don't come in there. Just let me do what I gotta do. And Balthazar is like, wait a minute. And I'm like, no. And then he's like, all right. So I actually personally love the fact that Paris is in this scene. Like, I don't know. I feel
Tell me
like
about that.
Shakespeare
No, I want to hear it. I think
Yeah,
I like it
okay.
too. I think it's interesting.
So it is. It adds another layer to it. I think Shakespeare did it just because it's a tragedy and he had to like Game of Thrones it and kill everybody
Up
off.
the body count.
Exactly. Yeah. I think that's kind of the reason he did it, but I personally love it because I don't know. I love the idea of the honor, right? Like even though Romeo goes in there to kill himself with the person that he loves, and then right, but Paris is in there and he's like, oh, I still have to respect his wishes as well, right? There's still that odd mutual respect of between Romeo and the guy that he just killed.
Yeah.
And I think part of that comes from here. Let me look at the lines. In faith I will. Okay. So he agrees to do it. Romeo agrees to put him in the tomb next to Juliet before he even knows who Paris is.
Yeah. And
I don't know. It's despite what we've seen of Romeo, and despite how hot-headed and sort of, he's not as arrogant, but he's very impulsive, right? Despite how impulsive we see him, especially in the beginning with Rosalind and everything, and switching onto Juliet, and we sort of see him mature throughout the show, where he even tries to keep the peace during the duel between Tybalt and Mercutio. So we sort of see this progression of Romeo and how he matures, and it finally ends with this, the idea of sort of him letting another guy take his place because it was his dying wish, right? And maybe not take his place, but
be there with him.
Be next to her, right? He's like, I share Juliet, right? Because it was this guy's dying wish. And also I love I forgot to finish the summary. So him and Paris fight, right? And then he kills Paris, and then he finds out, he doesn't know that it's Paris. I am guessing because it's dark, right? Or he just doesn't.
Maybe.
We'll
say it's in a cave, or it's in the
yeah.
sepulcher. It's dark.
Yeah, we'll suspend disbelief for 2 seconds. But so he doesn't know it's Paris until he kills him. And then he lays Paris with Juliet, and then he sees Tybalt there, who's also in the sepulcher. I love that word, by the way. Sepulcher. He sees him in the sepulcher, and then Romeo decides to kill himself. But I was talking before about Romeo sort of maturing throughout the show. There are still hints in that final monologue of him being a child. I mean, we talked about it a couple of days ago, just the idea that he says, maybe not in so many words, but he says, I'm going to protect you from the dark.
Yeah.
Right? Like he has that line where he's like,
so sweet.
I'm going to, I don't think it's like, I'm going to fight off the monsters, but it has that same sort of childish, like, I'm going to protect you because it sort of insinuates that Romeo is afraid of the dark. And it really brings back, 3 lines before he's going to die. It brings back the fact that he's only in his teens.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I don't know. I love that moment.
Yeah, that's great. I like it too. So Juliet, anything you want? I mean, you're not alive for very long.
No, that's for sure. I mean, I think that for anyone like who has like this, if this was the first time them reading the play, the minute Romeo is dead, you know Juliet's gonna be dead, because that was her whole spiel in the beginning. Friar, if you don't help me, I will kill myself. I
Yeah.
guarantee you. And that's almost kind of some foreshadowing there itself. She wakes up, she's in the tomb, she's happy because the friar's there, she's where she's supposed to be, and she's like, well, where's Romeo? And all of a sudden, Friar's freaking out. He's like, we have to go. He's dead. We have to go. It's kind of just like all of a sudden, she wakes up, she's expecting things to be well. Friar Lawrence says, no, things went really wrong. Romeo's dead. We have to go. Then I guess the watchmen start coming. The friar takes off because he's scared. But Juliet's like, I can't leave. This is it. It's over. This is the end. She knows that he's dead. She sees that he poisoned himself. She tries, and there's nothing left in the cup. She says she kisses him. She hopes there's some still on his lips. There's not. And then she finds his dagger, which was, I think, her plan, like, way back when. Like, I'm just going to kill myself with this dagger if all else fails. And just before they come in, she stabs herself, and that's the end of Juliet.
That's the end of Juliet, yeah. Capulet, Dad, what's going on with you?
Well, Capulet's grief is really like weighing on him at this point. He, like I said, the last thing, he realizes that he messed up, and he's lost what was really important to him. And now, after Friar Lawrence does his explanation what's going on, it's kind of incriminating to Capulet. He realizes that this was all, a lot of this grief was caused by his feud with Montague, his refusal, his desire to create this this marriage with Paris for political gain, and I think he realizes his part in causing this grief, which is why at the end there he says takes Montague's hand, and this is what my daughter would have wanted, and just take my hand. And then Montague is going to raise a statue to Juliet, and he says, as rich as Romeo's statue will, lie by her side, and they are the poor victims of our feud. So I think he's accepting the fact that this is caused by his feud with Montague, and that's what caused all this grief.
Yeah. All right, before we end with the prince, let me check back with Friar Lawrence a second. So Friar
Yes.
Lawrence, is there anything else you want to share about what's going on with you, what you're feeling, what you're thinking in this last scene?
I think he is just ultimately horrified and feels incredibly guilty. He will never be the same person after this. It's a shame because he seemed a pretty happy person before this. I don't think he will ever feel that way again. I can't believe he runs away in the tomb over the noise, but I think he almost is giving Juliet the opportunity. I don't know. That is my one, just like, I can't believe he does that. That's really strange to me, right?
Well, he doesn't want to, maybe he doesn't want to get caught. He's afraid for his life.
I think he's
maybe it's
freaking
just,
out, like, I caused this is all my fault. Oh my God, I got to get out of here. And then he realizes he gave her, I wonder if he's even allowing it at that point. I don't even know.
Well, they catch him, so
Yeah.
I guess he's not very quick. They catch him.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He's definitely a little befuddled.
Yeah.
I think. I think he just had to get out of that room more than anything. I think he was freaking out.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. So.
All right, Prince. Let's end with you because you end the play. So tell us what's going on with you.
Get woken up. I want to know why. And then again, there are more dead bodies in front of my face, and it all leads back to the same two people. And now I'm really pissed off. What I think and what I find so wonderful here, though, that caught me this time, was he almost exonerates Friar Lawrence. After Friar Lawrence gives that incredible speech, his words are, "We still see you as a man of God."
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you know, to me tonight saying that was okay. He's saying, I get it. And we still view you as a holy man.
Yeah.
Which I think is wonderful.
Mhm.
And the prince now just wants to get down to it, and more than to cram it down Capulet and Montague's throats. This was your fault. This wasn't Friar Lawrence's fault. This was not anybody's, not the nurse's fault, because Friar Lawrence mentions that the nurse knew. It's not anybody's fault but yours and yours. It was the two of you and your hate for each other. And through that hate, all this death happened. That's the cause of it. So at the end of the day, leave and think about what it is are you really going to build that statue? Are you really going to forgive? Are you really going to do these things? Because if you don't, you will be punished. Really look at what you've done, because tomorrow we will enter a mourning state. No bells will be rung. No, modern day flags will be at half mast. Tomorrow the sun will not rise. And you too will think about this hell that you have created for each other and me, because he does mention that he lost someone close to him too. Because of you, I lost somebody too. So go home and think about what you've done and what this hate has caused. That's what that end is. Like, these two were so in love, they had to kill each other to be okay. Because of you two.
Yeah.
Nobody else.
Yeah.
And that's the prince in a nutshell.
Yeah, it's a very valuable lesson too. It's good.
Yes.
Especially for today.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking
absolutely.
too. Yeah.
I just as you were speaking, that came to my mind as well. All right, everybody. Excellent work. This was great. Thank you. And thank you, my students, and anyone else that's watching. Bye.
Mm.